Hello friends, let us now learn some important points about rehabilitative methods. So if you see in the rehabilitative methods, first we have hearing aids. In the rehabilitative methods, hearing aids. Hearing aids, what does they do? They amplify the sound reaching the ear. They will, first this is the sound reaching the ear, they will amplify the sounds reaching the ear. So these hearing aids are actually suitable for conductive hearing loss. Okay, so these hearing aids are actually suitable for conductive hearing loss. And then we have sensory neural hearing loss. In sensory neural hearing loss, the main problem is in the distortion of sound due to recruitment. Okay, so first we will see the components of hearing aids. Components of hearing aids are, if you see the components of hearing aids will be of three types. One, we have microphone. Second, we have audio microphone. Second, we have amplifier. And third, we have receiver. In the hearing aids, first we have microphone. Second, we have amplifier. Third, we have receiver. Microphone, what does this do? This will collect the sound and it will transform the sound into electrical energy. Then amplifier, so sound is converted to electrical energy in the microphone. Now this electrical impulses are amplified, that means they are intensified in the amplifier. Okay, now these increased or intensified electrical impulses are translated to the louder sound by the receiver and the patient receives the information. Okay, so this is what happens in each components of hearing aid. Then if you see the next, we have types of hearing aid. In the types of hearing aid can be of three types. One, we have conventional type of hearing aid. Second, we have programmable analog type. And third, we have digital type. We have conventional type, programmable analog type, and digital type of hearing aid. So in the conventional type of hearing aid, there is increased volume of all incoming sounds with minor adjustments. In conventional type, you will see that there is increased volume of all incoming sounds with minor adjustments can be done in conventional type. Whereas in programmable type, it is mainly programmed by a computer. Okay, in programmable type, these are mainly programmed by a computer and has some flexibility for adjustment based on preferences and listening environment. That is programmable type. Then digital type, it is actually programmed by a software or audiologist to allow dramatic flexibility in adjustments, and this digital type will enhance the clarity. So in conventional type, it will increase volume of all the incoming sounds with minor adjustments. So each and every sound that is received to the ear will be amplified in conventional type. In second type, programmable type. So in programmable type, in this we can program in the computer and have some flexibility for adjustment. Like if the person does not like loud banging sounds, he can decrease their amplitude and he can amplify those preferred sounds with a computer. That is programmable type of hearing aid. In digital type, here there is a software program which is the software is programmed by an audiologist, and this will allow the lots of flexibility in adjustments, and as a result this digital type will increase the clarity. Okay, so these are the types of hearing aid. Then we have hearing aid styles. After types, we have hearing aid styles. If you see styles of hearing aid can be of four types actually. One, we have completely in the canal hearing aid. First we have completely in the canal hearing aid, then in the canal type, then in the ear type, and then we have behind the ear type. Okay, hearing aids are of four types. One, we have completely in the canal type, that is it is the smallest type, and this completely in the canal type is used for mild to moderate hearing type. This is smallest type and it is for mild to moderate hearing loss. We use this completely in the canal type. This is most difficulty to place and adjust it. Okay, that is completely in the canal because we put it in the canal. Then in the canal type, this is actually larger than completely in the canal type. So it is larger than completely in the canal type, and it is actually easier to use, whereas completely in the canal is difficult to use. Even this in the canal type is used for mild to moderate hearing loss only. Then we have in the ear type. In the ear type is larger than the in the canal type. It will completely fill the bowl of the ear. It is used for variety of hearing impairment. Okay, mild, moderate, and severe you can use in the ear type, and it is easier to use than canal, completely in the canal or in the canal type. It is easier to use than completely in the canal or in the canal type. So this is easier to use, and it can be used for all types of hearing loss, almost many types of hearing loss. Okay, then we have behind the ear type. In the behind the ear type, there is a circuit and which is fit behind the ear, and this is also used for a wide range of hearing loss, and it is good for children. Okay, it is good for children. Next, these are the different types of hearing aid styles. Then the next important is about the indications of hearing aids. So if you see absolute indication, conducting hearing loss is the absolute indication. Here the patient has a hearing problem. In conducting hearing loss, if the patient has a hearing problem which is not treatable by medical or surgical method, the patient has a hearing problem which is not treatable by medical or surgical method, in them we do this hearing aids. And then we have conductive hearing deafness. Conductive deafness patient who do not want surgery and who is unfit for surgery. And if the patient has conductive hearing loss and is unfit for surgery, in them we can give this hearing aids. Okay, then what are the disadvantages of these hearing aids? Disadvantages are: number 1, they are not cosmetically acceptable. They give acoustic feedback will be present. There will be spectral distortion is seen, and you will also see that these will occlude the external auditory canal. Okay, and they will occlude the external auditory canal, and they will also result in collection of wax, and also they can cause blockade of the insert can also occur. Sensitivity of canal skin to ear molds also increases. It is problem to use in discharging ears. You cannot use these hearing aids in discharging ears. These are disadvantages of conventional hearing aid. So this is about the hearing aids. Then after the hearing aids, we have bone anchored hearing aids. The next type is we have bone anchored hearing aids. What are these bone anchored hearing aids? These are new advanced hearing aids. Here we will directly stimulate the cochlea. So the cochlea is stimulated directly. So if this is the inner ear, and then we have if this is the ear like this, so all of this is bypassed, and directly the cochlea is the one which is stimulated, and external ear and middle ear is bypassed. It is mainly used in conductive hearing loss with good cochlear function. If the patient has conductive hearing loss with good cochlear function, then we can use this bone anchored hearing aid. It is mainly anchored to the bone of the deaf side of ear and collects the sound waves by means of bone. Now, then it conducts from the bone, it will conduct, and then it will transmit the impulses to the cochlea of the other side. Then if you see the indications of the conductive of this bone anchored hearing aid include: when the air conduction hearing aid cannot be used, like for example in the canal type, in the ear type, completely in the canal type, or when there is when all of them cannot be used, that is in canal atresia. If there is atresia of the canal, okay, if there is canal atresia, or if there is congenital malformation of the external ear, or if the patient has chronic ear discharge, or if the patient has chronic ear discharge, or if there is excessive feedback and discomfort from conductive hearing aid, then we can use this bone anchored hearing loss. And it is also used in mixed hearing losses, we can use it. like otosclerosis, and in tympanosclerosis you can use this mixed hearing aid. Then if the patient has single-sided hearing loss, also you can use this bone anchored hearing aid is used. Okay, next we have vibrant sound bridge, or also called as implantable hearing aid. So what is this implantable hearing aid? These will directly stimulate the ossicles bypassing the external ear and the tympanic membrane, but they will stimulate the ossicles which are present here. So here ossicles are stimulated in vibrating hearing aid. So this will bypass the external ear and tympanic membrane. In this implantable part, it will consist of transducer, and this transducer is attached mainly to the incus. It is attached to incus. Then, in whom do you use this vibrant sound bridge or implantable hearing aid? It is mainly used for any person with moderate to sensory moderate to severe sensory neural hearing loss of age more than 18 years. You can use this vibrant sound or implantable hearing aid. They should have some experience with the traditional hearing aid. The advantages are these will have better sound quality, and they are, for this we have better sound quality will be there, and we also have lesser wax related problems will be there, and lesser feedback will be there in these patients. Then if you see the next important hearing aid is we have cochlear implants. In cochlear implants, in this the electrical device will convert the mechanical sound energy. It will convert mechanical sound energy into electrical energy. It will convert mechanical sound energy to electrical signals, and these signals are delivered directly to the auditory nerve. These signals are delivered directly to the auditory nerve. So electrical devices will be present that will convert the mechanical sound into electrical sound, and from there this electrical sound is sent to the auditory nerves. So what are the indications of these cochlear implants? Indications are if there is bilateral severe hearing loss, it is indicated, that is more than 70 decibels, or if the patient is not benefited for hearing aids given for sensory neural hearing loss, or if the patient has Mondini's aplasia, or if the patient has auditory neuropathy, So all these are the indications of cochlear implants. So if you see in the cochlear implants, first and foremost we have two components. One, we have external component. Second, we have internal component. External component contains a microphone, speech processor, transmitter, and this will remain outside the body. Whereas internal component will have a receiver or stimulator. It has an electrode which is implanted in the scala tympani. It has an electrode which is implanted in the scala tympani of the cochlea via the cochleostomy. Sometimes if it is not possible to implant an electrode in the scala tympani, this can also be accessed through round window also. Okay, now what is the prerequisites of this cochlear implant? First prerequisite is what should be definitely present. The first prerequisite is there should be intact, eighth nerve should be intact. Number 1, eighth nerve should be intact in a cochlear implant, and the baby should be at least 1 year of age. And postlingual deaf patient tend to do better than prelingual deaf patient, and these patients should have speech discrimination score of at least less than 50% should be there. What is it contraindicated? It is contraindicated if there is absence of cochlea. If there is either absence of cochlea or if there are the lesion in the cochlea, then it is contraindicated. Okay, or if there is absence of cochlear nerve, then it is contraindicated. Okay, how do you put put this implant? This implant is actually put via the facial recess approach. We will do a facial recess approach, then we go to the posterior tympanotomy, and then we do posterior tympanotomy and put this implant in the scala tympani of the cochlea. Okay, next, if you see the next important thing, right, next we have last hearing aid for this chapter is auditory brainstem implant. So what do you see in auditory brainstem implant? In auditory brainstem implant, it is mainly in this you will stimulate the cochlear nuclear complex is stimulated in the brainstem. How? Directly you will place the implant is placed in the lateral recess of the fourth ventricle. It is placed in the lateral recess of fourth ventricle and the brainstem is stimulated. It is placed in the lateral recess of the fourth ventricle and brainstem is stimulated. The implant is needed when eighth nerve is lost, and also it is used in bilateral vestibular schwannoma where eighth nerve is lost due to this, or if there is any lesion where cochlea is absent and eighth nerve is absent. In such cases we can use this auditory brainstem implant. Thank you.